Welcome back, everybody. I'm John Adarola, and this is the Young Turks overtime, I guess. So I was on the main show, the first hour with Cenk Uygur. We have stories that we don't get to on the main show, and so I've got one that I do want to present to you right now on YouTube Live. And so this morning, I woke up to tweets from our president, our great leader, saying that basically he might have to take over Chicago. And initially, this struck me as just the normal sort of Trumpian thing to do. Talk about a city that's falling apart. And I'm going to show you the tweets in just a second. But then, when you find out why he sent these tweets, and there's two potential reasons. Either one it is says so much about Donald Trump and who he is and how he thinks. And it's really sad and a little bit scary. So the first tweet, this is actually late last night, I should say. If Chicago doesn't fix the horrible carnage going on, 228 shootings in 2017 with 42 killings, I will send in the feds. I've actually got the graphics from the main show there. And so that seems sort of weird. I mean, he's talking about sending in the feds to Chicago. He's got very specific numbers on shootings. Maybe he has listened to our criticism. My specific criticism that he doesn't pay attention, he doesn't study, he doesn't do his research, he's not interested in the facts and objective reality. Maybe he's going to adjust on that. Turns out, not so much the case. So, you saw those numbers, the 42 homicides, 228 shootings. Take a look at this picture. You see what's down in the corner there? The O'Reilly factor. And he tweeted late last night. During the O'Reilly factor. They're the same numbers. Which means that our president was watching a show. He was watching Fox News, and they said these things, and he immediately put it into a tweet and sent it out. Now that, by itself, might not be so bad, I guess. I would expect our president to do a little bit more in terms of research and everything, but that's not so bad. But remember that in his initial tweet, he says, I will send in the feds. Do you want to know what they were talking about on the O'Reilly factor? This is Bill O'Reilly saying everybody says the same things, gun crimes are not prosecuted aggressively, the sentences are way too low, the gang thing is getting worse, the mayors of Chicago have no clue, the governor of Illinois doesn't want to do anything about it. He sounds like Trump, honestly. So can the feds go in and stop this? And his guest, Horace Cooper, says, well, absolutely the feds can do this. And so that's the scary thing. It's not that he was driven by the facts that he saw presented by O'Reilly, and then he thought about it, and he came up with a solution that only he has, as president, could actually do. It's he saw the numbers, and then they told him what he should do, and then he threatened to do it on Twitter. That he's going to send in the feds to Chicago because some dude on O'Reilly made the noise out of his screen and it hit his face, and he has no independent critical thought. That should be scary. Okay, if the president wants to watch the news or read the news, they can do that. That's a good thing. They should gather information. They should even do it in part from Fox News. But the idea that our president is going to so passively just take in and accept not just the reality they present, and as far as I know these numbers are accurate, but then do what they say he should do. And it's not like he thought about it for an hour or for 2 hours. He did it during the filming of the goddamn show. That is pathetic. He is a tiny little easily affected man. First of all, did he not know that people were going to know this? That they were going to look at the transcript and see that he was simply responding to what O'Reilly was telling him to do? And by the way, if you're O'Reilly, you now know you have this amazing power over the supposedly most powerful man in the entire country. That if you simply say something on your show, he will then go and do it. Now, I'll return to this in 1 second. There's one other potential reason that he was inspired to say the things that he said, and that is that the night before, the mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, a Democrat, you might be familiar with him from his time in the Obama administration, had this to say in response to the news coming out over the weekend. You didn't get elected to debate the crowd size at your inaugural. You got elected to make sure that people have a job, that the economy continues to grow, people have security as it relates to their kids' education. It wasn't about your crowd size, it was about their lives and their jobs. Now, I don't really care what Rahm Emanuel thinks about almost anything because I think he's absolutely terrible. But he says this, and it seems objectively true. I think we can all agree with that. That might have led to Trump's willingness to attack Chicago in particular. And one quick point on that. So Chicago, apparently, if these numbers are accurate, and I'll give O'Reilly that. I doubt he would present shooting numbers that are 100% untrue. You can say that they have a problem, and you can want to fix that problem. We should all want to fix that problem, but it is weird that those numbers, the 42 dead there supposedly, inside of a couple of square miles, will inspire a president to immediately begin to address the nation. But over a larger area of geography, say our entire country, tens of thousands dying from guns will not inspire any action. And so that's a weird sort of hypocrisy or willful blindness there, that if it's happening in one city, especially a city that we can blame on minorities or we can blame on a Democratic mayor, okay, then we will send in the feds, which is supposed to be exactly what every conservative is most worried about. But when it's a national problem, we won't make the most simple common sense regulations that the vast, vast majority of NRA members think we should have. We won't do that. But again, I believe it's maybe a little bit the Rahm Emanuel, but this is about Bill O'Reilly there. And we know that Trump likes to watch TV. They say that he wakes up early to start watching the news. He watches Joe Scarborough. But now he has meetings, and this is from his advisors, but now he has meetings, and that cuts into his morning TV time. But don't worry, he goes home at night and then watches hours of TV. That could be a good thing for particular people, but we know for Trump it's not. He gets so focused on what people are saying about him, these perceived slights and vendettas, and now we know that you combine that with the fact that when people are talking to him, he almost can't help but accept what they say. And that is a sad, weird thing, and it becomes more than sad and weird when it's the president. It becomes scary when it's him. So anyway, that's a story. This is TYT Overtime, I'm calling it. Stories we didn't get to on the main show that I did want to present, and thankfully with YouTube Live I can do that. If there are stories you'd like to see covered on the show, I'm not going to be on the main show tomorrow, but I will be on the Power Panel following day. I might stream something tomorrow. You can tweet story suggestions to me at John Idarola on Twitter. And if you want to see more of my content on YouTube, it's youtube.com/John Idarola for politics and youtube.com/thinktank for much lighter fare from around the world. Thanks for joining me, guys.